Hi guys. So this video, which I'm doing today, would be on how you create variables in SPSS. Um, so before you create any variables in SPSS, you need to have your survey coded or your data instrument coded. Okay. For details on how to do that, please refer to my previous video, which went through coding of an example survey. Okay. So to do this in SPSS, if we're creating variables first, we would go in the variable view window, which at the bottom you would select. And each of these set rows here represent a space to enter variables. Okay, so let's say we wanted to create a variable for gender. When you're creating variable names, you have to ensure that the name isn't too long. You're trying to go below 25 characters. Um, and you have to make sure that there are no spaces. So, for example, if I was to name my variable, I have a question: what is your gender? And I would type in what is, put a space there, is your gender. Okay, as my variable name. This will not work. So if I were to select here, I would get this error coming up here saying variable name contains an illegal character. So usually when we're doing data analysis, we try to keep our variable names as short as possible, but understandable to ourselves when we're doing analysis. So to do this, in the future we'll name our variable sex. Okay. Once we do that, we can hit the next column here under type, and as you can see, the entire row is now filled in with information. So this type here, if I click the three dots, which is called ellipsis, you will get to select the variable type. Now if you're entering numbers, it will be numeric. If you're entering currency or money, you would use dollar, date obviously. If you're entering text information, you use string. So for this purpose, we're using numeric. Variable width refers to the width of the column. When you're entering the data, you can leave this at 8. This is standard. And decimals, it just shows you how many decimal points will appear when you enter your data. For this, we don't need any decimal points, so I can set this to 0 by hitting the up and down arrow. On the label here, now we are able to actually put in our question and with spaces such as what is your gender. Okay, so for here, I can put what is and put question mark. Okay, now for this question, what is your gender? You would have two options: male, female. Okay, so to enter the value labels and the values, we hit the ellipsis, which will come when you select it, and a value, I have my information coded as 1. So the number for the code will go as undervalue, and that will represent female. And I hit add here, and 2 will represent my male group, and I hit add. And once I've done this, all I do, I hit is OK, and the information is placed there. The next column looks at missing. So for some persons, it is typically used 999 is used as missing. I typically don't use. I leave it blank. The program is able to pick up the missing information. If you so desire to use a particular number to identify as missing, you can hit the missing column, hit the ellipsis, and then you can enter missing values. For example, 999, 39 could be used for identifying missing information. Okay? But for myself, I typically try not to use this, so I would just go back and select no missing values. Under measure here, this is where we select our data type. So we have three types of data types here. We have scale, ordinal, and nominal. For nominal, we're suggesting that there are no differences between the categories. So typical variables we'd use for a nominal scale would be gender, ethnicity, your location, questions such as that. When you have something on an ordered scale where there are differences between the ordered categories, you use an ordinal scale. Examples of that are like a Likert scale, sometimes age groups, or level of education. Level of education can also be used as nominal depending on how the question is phrased. And scale is for any variable that is in a continuous or discrete form. So examples of that would be like BMI, height, weight, um, number of cancer deaths per year, etc. Okay, so for this question, for sex, we use nominal. Okay, let me just do an example. Let's say we want to name a variable age groups. What we can use, a nice shortcut, would be type in age, and instead of putting a space, because that would not work, we use an underscore. Okay, and then I put groups. And for the label, I can put what is your age, personal. And the values, I would hit 1, less than 18 years, 2, 18 to 24 years, and 3, let's go greater than 24 years. Okay. So questions such as this will be treated as a ordinal. And let's do a continuous variable. Let's use int. Well, you can spread this wider by hitting the top there and dragging across to see the responses if you like. Uh, because this question is income and has to do with money, we can change the data type for this one. For income to be, we can change this to dollar. Okay? And we could change this to about the third option. Okay? So if we do that, see how the information changed there? Now we have dollar signs in front of our numbers that we entered. Okay, so that's just the basic framework on how you enter data. I'll do subsequent videos on how to check, verify your data and clean it, and then how you start basic analysis with some data that you would have collected. Okay, thanks again, and I'll see you soon. Okay, take care.